The Jedi thought the Sith were a memory. For nearly 2,000 years, the descendants of the Exiles were a ghost story whispered in the dark. Hidden behind the impenetrable dust clouds of the Stygian Caldera, the Sith Empire grew in total isolation, building an empire of blood, sorcery, and dark side-fueled technology. But in 5000 before the Battle of Yavin, two desperate siblings looking for a payday accidentally stumbled through the front door. They didn't find riches, they found a sleeping giant, and they were about to wake it up. Greetings, my fellow scruffy-looking Nerf Herders, and welcome back to the Infernal Brotherhood. Today we go back to the height of the Golden Age of the Sith. While the Galactic Republic was thriving in the core, the heirs of Ajunta Pall were busy creating a dark mirror of civilization on the world of Korriban. This is the story of Gav and Jori Daragon, the hyperspace explorers who accidentally ignited the Great Hyperspace War. We're looking at the death of Marka Ragnos, the brutal rivalry of Naga Sadow and Ludo Kresh, and how a single blind jump into the unknown changed the galaxy forever. By 5000 BBY, the Sith had evolved. They were no longer just the primitive red-skinned natives, nor were they just the human dark Jedi who conquered them. Through centuries of Sith alchemy, the two races had interbred into a single Force-sensitive aristocracy. Under the 100-year reign of Marka Ragnos, the Empire reached a state of golden stagnation. It was a time of immense wealth and ritual, but the Sith had forgotten there was a galaxy left to conquer. When Ragnos finally died, the funeral on Korriban wasn't just a mourning ceremony, it was a powder keg. Two titans of the Sith Council stood over his tomb. Ludo Kresh, the traditionalist who believed the Empire should remain hidden to survive, and Naga Sadow, an expansionist who believed the Sith were destined to rule the stars. They were literally crossing swords when the sky opened up. Enter Gav and Jori Daragon. These weren't grand heroes, these were broke orphans from the Koros system. After their parents were killed in a botched supply run, the siblings inherited a mountain of debt and a beat-up freighter called the Starbreaker 12. Hunted by a merchant lord named Kahor and facing life in a debtor's prison, they decided on one final desperate gamble. Using their untrained force potential, which they just called luck, they punched random coordinates into the Navi computer and jumped. They emerged over Korriban, landing right in the middle of the Valley of the Dark Lords. To the Sith, this wasn't just a first contact, it was a religious omen. The Daragons were immediately seized and taken to the icy capital world of Ziost, where they languished in a dungeon. The Sith Lords debated their fate. Kresh argued that they were spies for a Republic invasion and must be executed immediately. Sadow, however, saw the maps in the Navi computer as a roadmap to a new empire. To win over the Council, Sadow orchestrated a brilliant, bloody deception. He used his alchemically enhanced Masasi warriors to rescue the Daragons and deliberately leave behind a Republic-issue blaster to frame the Senate. He even murdered his own mentor, Lord Simus, just to fuel the flames of war. By making the Sith believe they were already under attack, Sadow forced the Council to crown him the new Dark Lord of the Sith. While Jori was kept isolated, Naga Sadow took a personal interest in Gav. Recognizing the young man's raw force talent, Sadow began teaching him Sith sorcery. He played on Gav's resentment of his life as a lowly explorer in the Republic, showing him the opulence of the Sith and promising him power. Gav was mesmerized. He watched from Sadow's meditation sphere as the Sith built war beasts and mobilized fleets. He truly believed Sadow was his benefactor, not realizing he was being groomed to be the primary weapon against his own people. Sadow even gave Gav command over his flagship, effectively forcing the young man to choose between his old life and his new dark destiny. The final move in Sadow's plan was to allow Jori to escape. He made sure the Starbreaker 12 was fueled and ready. then staged a battle that forced her to flee back to Republic space. He knew exactly where she would go, Empress Teta. Jori returned home screaming warnings of a Sith invasion, but the Republic was too comfortable. They saw her as a criminal and a madwoman. While she was being arrested and ignored, Sadow was following the homing beacon he'd hidden on her ship. The Golden Age was over. The Great Hyperspace War was about to begin, and the Republic was walking right into a slaughter. The discovery of the Sith wasn't a grand diplomatic meeting. It was a series of lies, betrayals, and one very unlucky hyperspace jump. Next time, we go to the front lines as the Sith fleet emerges from hyperspace to bring the Republic to its knees. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Daragons and the Golden Age, hit the like button and subscribe. Tell me in the comics, was Gav Daragon a traitor, or was he just a pawn in a game played by masters of the dark side? Thank you to my creator patrons Aaron Hardy and D. Robert Handy, developer patrons Chris Androu and Sam Ruiz, and all of our YouTube members. Until we convene again, my fellow scruffy-looking Nerf Herders, may the Force be with you.